today I'm going to do a couple of roads I've not been on before. One of them's near Elton, the other one is a bit closer to Chester. And I'll be going off into work after that. Now, I have been looking at our next trip. Now, our next European trip is going to be a couple of years away, but I need to work out what it's going to cost us. So I'm start working through now at possible routes and what have you. I've been watching Richie Vidia's videos. The routes he's done, the weather he got, the problems that he had. And I've been able to work out so far up to day 11, I think it is. I just started for home, another Hob Islands. So I've been able to work out roughly how many miles I've been doing each day. I've been able to pick out some of the hotels and campsites they've been at too. They got bloody awful weather if you want the truth, until you got above the Arctic Circle. I've also seen the Missing and Flyer ones. I remember it, I actually haven't watched them this time. So really I'm not going to do any of the channel ports, but these 3 ferries. Harwich to Hook of Holland, Hull to Rotterdam, and Newcastle to Amsterdam. The Newcastle and the Hull ones are about the same. They leave about the same time at night, arrive in Holland around about the same time next morning. About 9 AM they get there, they sail about 5 PM in the evening. Irish one sails 9 AM, arrives 5:30 PM at Hook of Holland. After that, it's how you actually get to Norway from there. There are a few ferries to choose from. I think I'm going just around this corner by the looks of it. And there are a few ferries to choose from. There's Kiel to Oslo. There's Copenhagen to Oslo. It's not that one. You've got Frederikshavn to Oslo. And you've got Hirtshals to a number of different destinations. And it goes to about 4 different ones. 3 of them along the southern coast of Norway, so Langesund. I think one's Larvik, but I'm not entirely sure. And the other one is Kristiansand. But they also do an overnight ferry that goes to Stavanger and Bergen. Now, I kind of favour the Kiel to Oslo route. The reason I favour it is we can get the Harwich ferry 9 in the morning, be in Holland 5:30 in the evening, through customs by about 7 in the evening. We then need to be in Kiel by midday the next day, and it's 380 miles away. That's about 9-10 hour ride at most. So if we left at 7, we could be there for 5 in the morning. We'd have a bit of a sleep on the Harwich ferry, because you get a cabin. If you go on the ferry for 9, had your breakfast, in your cabin and sleep by 10. Awake again by 4 and ready to go. A little bit more refreshed. You then get the ferry to Oslo. It gets you there 10 AM. And then you're 250 miles away from Granger. Now, I don't think we could do that you'd probably be off the ferry for midday, and 250 miles is probably a standard 8-hour riding day, so you'd be there at 8 p.m. Kind of a bit of a late arrival, that, but it means we could be doing Eagle Road, Trolls Ladder, Great Atlantic Way on the 4th day. It is a bit tricky. It means riding through the night. I'm not sure I want to do that, so I'll keep it as favoured, not certain. The other one I like the sound of is Hirtshals to Bergen. Now the reason I like the sound of that, we could perhaps still get the ferry from Harwich, but we don't need to be at Hirtshals until about 8 o'clock at night the next day. Which will give us 24 hours to do 650 miles. And then we'll be in Bergen the next day, and it's about 250 miles from Grianchefjord. So in principle, either of those two particular routes would get us to where we want to go by about the 3rd day. So they don't look at all bad when you think of it like that. Of course, whichever way you do it, you can get ferry to Kristiansand from Hirtshals, but you have to remember it's a 650 mile ride from any of the Dutch ports. That's a long way, and frankly I don't want to be doing that again. So those are my favourites for the moment. Of course it costs. The Bergen ferry and the Oslo ferry from Kiel are £500 one way, so it's £250 each. And then of course the ferries themselves over to Holland, they're not cheap neither. And if you get one with a decent cabin, you're looking at about £400 one way. So just on ferries to get to Norway, I'd be paying about 450, and so would Paul. And of course you've probably got something similar getting home. So you're looking about £900 each on ferries just to get to Norway. That doesn't count ferries while you're in Norway. There'd be more, I'm sure. Is that grass cutting early? While we were out camping over the weekend as well, chap called Mick, he turned up with a pop-up tent. I've been looking at pop-up tents thinking should I or shouldn't I, but all the ones I've seen pack up into a circle. I don't fancy getting a circle on the back of my bike. But Mick turned up with Basically it's a normal tent with normal tent poles, and you just peg it down, press a button, all the poles snap into place and your tent's up. Literally a couple of minutes. Now that's interesting. We're kind of toying with the idea of camping somewhere along the lines through Norway, where I'd like to carry stuff that takes up less space and it's quicker to set up, because you're going to set a tent up at night when you arrive, say 7 o'clock at night, and then you're leaving again, say 8 o'clock in the morning. It's half an hour to get the tent set up, another 10 or 15 minutes to get all the stuff into the tent, get your gear going. So by the time you're settled in, you've lost an hour. The next day it's not really any quicker. It's still half an hour or more to get the tent down. But a pop-up tent that goes up in a couple of minutes could save us a lot of time. Mick also showed me his airbed. I've got a roll mat. It takes up pretty much the whole of my top box. He showed me an airbed that comes with its own pump and takes up about a third of the space. Another good idea. He also showed me a chair. My chair goes right across the back seat. The one he's got packs up about 10 inches long and about 4 or 5 inches diameter. So where at the moment I just get my roll mat into my top box, I could easily get a table, a chair and an airbed in my top box. Now that seems like not a bad idea.